In 2023, Paramount Pictures is transporting audiences everywhere into the world of Dungeons & Dragons as Honor Among Thieves roars into theaters. An adventuring party made up of Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, Sophia Lillis, Regé-Jean Page, and Justice Smith must traverse a world full of owlbears, mimics, and gelatinous cubes in order to stop some very bad people from doing some very bad things. You know, your typical day for a Dungeons & Dragons character. All the while, Hugh Grant is there hanging out, seemingly playing a lord of some kind. During the panel for the film in Hall H, not only were we introduced to the cast, but we were treated to a few clips and the first official trailer, which you're more than likely watching bits and pieces from right now as I speak. We also got a look at the official poster for the movie, which is super swanky in my opinion. Now, this isn't the only poster for the movie that we got today, as before the panel, attendees at the con could go and check out a Dungeons & Dragons tavern experience, where we saw this poster, which depicts the classic D&D ampersand logo, along with a ton of classic monsters from the franchise, many of which we saw in the trailers and clips. I gotta say, a lot of love and care seems to have gone into making sure that this movie is as pleasing to fans of the tabletop role-playing game as possible. The monsters look spot-on accurate to the artwork we see in the monster manuals. The cast members embody their classes to perfection, with particular credit going to Michelle Rodriguez, who put on pounds and pounds of muscle in order to really sell the look of a battle-hardened barbarian, a role that I'm sure many of you would argue she was born to play. Overall, the whole movie is just oozing with fan service, which makes sense, considering the fact that Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daley, who were both the writers and directors on the movie, had quite the storied history with the game. And it was this history with it that caused them to set out to capture the feeling of playing the game, less than specifically adapting any pre-existing storyline. In fact, a lot of the cast expressed a deep love for Dungeons & Dragons. Most had some prior experience with the game, except for Chris Pine, who said that his nephew's interest in Dungeons & Dragons was what made him explore the opportunity to play the part. Though he was quick to point out that since working on the film, he had not just gotten into it himself, but his entire family as well. All this love for the game definitely showed through in what we saw during the panel, as the trailer definitely captured a lot of the humor and wit that often goes hand in hand with the expected pulse-pounding action during your typical session of the game with friends. Be sure to catch Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves at your local Regal March 3rd, 2023. And stay tuned for even more updates about the biggest announcements from San Diego Comic-Con.